Well, this morning we're headed out to a place called Kirk, K-R-K. But what a pretty little harbor we have here. Oh, and there are two of the little semi-submersible submarines, claiming that this is the Croatian Navy. They got two ships here, and there's another one over here. People on this boat are going to be bike riding. Not The Ligurians were here, and then they asked the Romans to come help them. And the one thing the Romans brought that they didn't have was mortar. The Croats came in the 6th century.
That you're going to see at east. In the center of the island there was the town, there is the town of the Bridge. And at north,
This is a sun clock. No sun.
It was in fashion to have a surname. And if your surname would be from ancient Rome, this would be perfect. So in this way Nicola went to the Pope with galleys, knights, music, red carpet and everything, with a blue envelope of course, saying that he has a problem, that he rules practically all Croatia on the other side of the Adriatic, and that the only thing that he misses is the noble origin. Passing the blue envelope under the table for Mediterranean. Like today, it was the same thing. Even 2,000, maybe 3,000 years ago, it was always the same. Yeah. Pope tries, and then he says that he'll find a good name for him, and then he finds him the name Frankopan. I'm telling you this because here we can see the old coat of arms of Frankopan family above in the triangle. It's 6-point star. It actually represents Venus, is the first star that you see in the evening sky. They're living here in the town of Kirk were Liburni, and as I said, they already had an organized town. And then when the Romans came, when they tried to organize a town their way, you know that Romans used to build the two main streets, Cardo and Decumanus. Cardo that was connecting north with south, Decumanus that was connecting east with west. So this would be the southern gate, this would be the start of Cardo. But here in case of the town of Kirk, the two streets were not straight as they were normally built. St. Quirinus is the same protector of the town of Kirk, but not just of the town of Kirk, but of the whole bishopric of Kirk. And bishopric of Kirk consists of the islands Kirk, Cres that we don't see, Lošinj we don't see it neither, but you will see it when we get to Njebavt, and then Rab. So these are the parts of the bishopric of Kirk. If we go in, we'll see plenty of other interesting things. At the Forum, and Forum is where the two main streets in Roman time would cross. This was the main square. But we couldn't find any traces of any temples. And, alright, we put the altar of Venus in the museum. People were admiring that, but we still didn't know where the temple itself used to be. And then when this guy bought the house to make a nice shop, then archaeologists were always here, watching, observing, and then at one moment they said, oh, stop, they found something. And then when they made the excavations, then they found practically the very foundations of the Temple of Venus, only the apse, so the end of the temple. In the 12th century, St. Quirinus was built. This is the church of St. Quirinus, and it's the only church on two floors. Above is the St. Quirinus church, and down there is St. Margaret. A Romanesque phase of constructions, beautiful acoustic in there. None of the churches are used as churches anymore. Above in St. Quirinus is a museum of the cathedral. So practically everything that the bishop kept in the bishop's residence, and bishop residence is the yellow building.
This is the bishop's residence.
It will be from today's mass. Today is Sunday, so it could be a little bit. We'll pass on the back side, so I'll tell you. Where is the
Pretty
entrance? And I'll
large.
check it out if it's open. So, in the Romanesque period, there was a fashion of lots of smoke of incense in the church, and just a tiny little bit of light, so more sun rays than light in there. And this was the fashion at that time. Later, in the Gothic, you know, in Gothic, windows became much taller, a little bit wider, walls a little bit thinner. In Renaissance, walls even thinner, bigger windows, and then in Baroque they started making those huge openings on the churches. Lots of light would go in there. But there, as the cathedral was built on the remains of the Roman thermal baths. Do you have any ideas why they were building on the remains of Roman thermal baths? Education system of the town of Kirk. And it had several stages of constructions. As we can see, this is the oldest tower. It's always the same material as they were using for St. Quirinus and the cathedral. So, as we read up in Loneta, that all of it was built during 1192. And that it was built during Reed and Bartol. And Reed and Bartol were two of the Frankopan family members before they got the name of Frankopan, and during Bishop Ivan. So this is what is written up in Ureda.
They collected water off the roof.
So this was
Came
the
across
first stage of
here.
construction of the castle. Then at the belfry,
And down
added the
here,
wall.
and down
Another tower that is just
to
outside
a great big
the
cistern.
round tower.
And
then the
here's
round tower was the
2
last
wells
stage
to get
of the-
water
of
out
the
of a
construction.
cistern.
And as it usually goes, one good father who makes quite a lot of good, and you have lots of lousy sons. So it was the same thing with Frankopans. So, 9 sons after Nicholas' death started fighting for the property. I want this castle, I want that castle. They couldn't settle. They settled on some things, but not on many. Plus, at the same time, it was a danger of the Ottoman invasion. So the king, because Croatia was in his personal union with Hungary, so 2 kingdoms, 1 king. And at that time it was Matija Korvin, he was the king of Croatia and Hungary.
Venetians took
Then the
over.
town was conquered by force. That's not true, because on the island of Kirk we have no traces of any battle whatsoever in history. So in 3,000 years of history of town of Kirk, no battles. And closed book would also mean that this was the borderline of the Republic of Venice. And I saw lions with the closed book only in the borderlines of what used to be the Republic of Venice. So this was practically the case here in Kirk, because just across the channel there was already Hungaro-Croatian kingdom. Down of Kirk, you can see that they are quite thick, 2 to 3 meters of wide. And then you can see the castle, and this was practically the reason why the town of Kirk and the island of Kirk had no trouble whatsoever in history, because all the conquests were going through the sea before. People were not riding horses to get to conquer something, especially here at the seaside. So they were just taking the boat, and with the boat they would conquer whatever they wanted to.
So there's the castle.
Except the town of
Can't
Kirk,
see it
because
too
was
good.
rather impossible
But
to
here's the
take.
city walls.
And plus there is another thing, it's the mentality of the people. So they rather give up than to fight.
See the walls a little better here. And look how clear the water is.
See what else? Well, it's kind of a northern wind. Yeah, it's a good sign. It's a good sign. Originally, as you can see, the angel has a trumpet. And the original idea was that if the wind would be too strong, that the angel would start playing the sound to warn the fishermen that are outside to come back to the harbor, that the bad weather